Most people, they live their entire life complaining, criticizing, condemning, and hoping that things were a certain way. They believe that just if all the variables were right in place, then somehow magically they would experience that happiness, that bliss that they always desired. So what happens is, we are told that we have to achieve greatness in life. We have to become something. We have to be worthy. And we start preparing accordingly. It starts with school, getting good grades, learning the right behavior, learning skills. Now, life skills are fine, but generally that is not enough. And we are told that we need to stand apart from the rest. So somehow this feeling is given to us that you have to be special, you have to look a little different from the rest to be noticed. And then this whole mechanism starts, where we start finding ways and methods to stand apart from the crowd. Some of our behaviors are maladaptive, and some behaviors are okay, but usually there is a lot of effort we put to get noticed. Only if I say the right thing, only if I do the right thing, then I will be noticed. But then what happens? This need becomes more and more. And then the compulsions begin to act. So this sense of separateness begins to grow, and as it grows, it starts to create distance between me and the other. And as this distance increases, it is the opposite of what one would call love. Because in love there is union and not separation. Whereas we build ourselves, we build our individuality because we are told that, boss, get your act right. Do something, become strong. Otherwise the world will crush you. But you see, we forget that in this process of becoming strong, we definitely are protecting ourselves from the world. But we are getting crushed under our own weight. In this never-ending chase to become better, to become tough, we are blocking our hearts. So yes, we are keeping away the bad influences, but we are also keeping away the good ones. We are blocking away hate, resentment, and other negative energies, but we are also blocking love, compassion, and kindness. We never question where this sensitivity comes into us, where we go into this protective shell and live our entire lives protecting ourselves, thinking that the world out there is evil, it is bad, it is planning against me, that people are cynical, people are passive aggressive, and that all humanity is completely self-centered. This is the delusion that the separative mind, the me mind, plays. And it usually starts with, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not whole, you're not integrated. You need to do something to become whole, to become integrated. You need to make a lot of effort to deserve love. Romantic love, parents' love, or any other form of love. But you need to work your way. You need to prove that you are worthy of love in order to be loved. So what happens is that we start to abandon ourselves in search of love. We feel that we must acquire something from the outside to become whole. We think that we need to build ourselves. Only if I had a better body shape, only if I had that intellectual prowess, only if I knew this, I had more money, I had more wisdom, then I would be noticed. Then people would take great interest in me. Then I would finally be worthy. And then I would get love. Love that I never got. Love that was my right, but I never got. But what happens is that we begin to lose ourselves in this process of finding love, finding wholeness on the outside. This is where the masters come in and they say, let's try something different for a change. You have spent all your life learning, acquiring, accumulating. But what has that given you? You got money, you got knowledge, but did you get the level of peace and satisfaction that you had hoped for? Did you get the unconditional love that you always wanted? And usually the answer is no. They say that love is not something to be acquired. Love is something to be recognized. Love is our most natural state. It does not need to be earned through effort. Anything that is acquired through effort, it comes from the separative mind. And whatever is acquired will be lost. And when it will be lost, there will be pain and suffering. You may have an idea of a romantic partner, of a person who fulfills you exactly the way you want, who loves you exactly the way you desire to be loved. So you fall in love. And for first few months, you feel ecstatic. You're enjoying the chemicals being released in your body. You're enjoying the thrill, the sensation, the closeness, the companionship. You think this person is my life and this is going to stay for the rest of your life. But then, slowly things begin to change. That object of your love begins to change. Because human beings cannot hide their fears for too long. So when that initial high wears off, you discover that this person is not what you perceived them to be. You thought that this person would bring you happiness, love, they would complete you. But now you see a different side of them. They're distant, they're withdrawing, they're silent, they're disrespectful. They provoke you, and you in turn create your own reactions, and your reactions threaten them. So you both feel unsafe, and this relationship now feels like it is doomed. In psychology, I think this phenomena is called trauma bonding. But you are addicted to the high that you received in the first place, and you are relying on hope. You are relying on the hope that this person may become that version again that was loving to me, that was kind to me, that spent time with me. But it's not happening. And it's not just in love interest, this happens in practically everything. Every external accumulation, objectification will lead to disappointment, because that is how life is designed. And this was my first insight, that happiness comes attached with unhappiness. Does that mean I was completely sorted? No. Even after that understanding, I did make mistakes. I did fall into the trap of the illusion. But I always knew, there was always this awareness that if one side is being shown to me right now, very soon the opposite end is coming. In fact, I would wait for the opposite to happen, and it would happen. So where does peace lie? Where does love lie in all of this? So love is the total acceptance that life is this dualistic swing from one end to the other, where happiness follows unhappiness and the cycle repeats. When you accept this unpredictability of life, where we don't know what the next moment will bring us, pain or pleasure, it is then that we truly love. Acceptance of that unpredictability is love. But when we are vigilant, and when we want to cling on to the good times and avoid the bad times, that is when life hits us and brings us continuous suffering. So what the separative mind does, the ego mind, it uses control as the first and foremost weapon. If they do not love me, let me change them. Let me show them how worthy I am. So even if they treat me poorly, I still continue to love them and take their neglect, take their blows, insults, but still be there. And this is usually romanticized in the movies, in the plays, where this show one partner being completely indifferent and the other partner continuously offering love, even while being rejected all the time. And on movies it seems very nice, but in real life, every time that happens, some part of you chips and falls down. So that is how you start abandoning yourself step by step until what remains of you is completely dead, lifeless, completely detached from your own reality. There is no love on the outside. The love is within us, our natural state, our beingness, our isness, our amness is the highest love. It is the place of our highest worth. It needn't be proved to anybody. You don't need anything to make that complete, because it is completeness. It is wholeness. Similarly, in the movies, they show the protagonist as being poor, and then he does something and makes money and becomes rich, and then all of a sudden everybody loves him, everybody's around him, and he gets the love of his life because now he has money, power, prestige. And it looks nice in the movie. Such a simple solution to life's problem, right? Just earn a lot of money. Earn a lot of money and all of your troubles are gone. You will have the right woman, right men, you will have a happy family, you will have the perfect home, no troubles. But people who have done that will tell you that that is also an illusion. Because when you have more, you want to protect it. So people who have more, they become more and more insecure about what they have. We get addicted to numbers. We get addicted to our followers, our number in the bank account, which reflects our worth. So if something happens to that number, if it goes up and down, our heart starts beating faster. What is happening there? We are losing ourselves. We are chipping away ourselves. In that time, love is accessible right there. All that is needed is the remembrance of the self. That yourself itself is the love that you seek. Therefore, you cannot get it through seeking. It is a matter of recognition of this vastness, of this infinitude, which is here and now. I always had grand plans when I was young, in my 20s. I wanted to be rich. I wanted beautiful women around me. And trust me, I tried. It did work to some extent, but nobody stayed. And the reason why nobody stayed was because they could see that how easily I abandoned myself to acquire them, to see them as an object. And nobody likes to be treated as an object. It's only later that I understood the meaning of love. And right now I'm talking about romantic love. The whole idea is to celebrate this love, this wholeness with another, considering that a being is shared between all of us. So living with someone, sharing your resources, your body, your mind, your intellect with someone is an intimate act. But the basic foundation of it is the beingness, the groundless ground of all experiential awareness. And the recognition of beingness in oneself and the other brings out an amazing quality to that relationship. But till we are focused on completing ourselves through the acquisition of the other, by binding the other, by controlling the other, by making them see things as you see things, by making them understand your point of view, you are committing a crime. You are taking away their freedom. That's not love. That's not celebration of wholeness. That is self-centeredness. An act of love is one where you let them be, where you let them go if they want to go. It hurts. One feels sad. The heartbreak is there for sure. But it doesn't bring you down because you realize your worth is not dependent on their leaving. You realize that you are pure consciousness, Sat Chit Ananda, being consciousness bliss. You are the stillness, and nothing can shake you. And this is why Ramana Maharishi said, you are strong. Realize your worth here and now. Look at your being. It is beautiful. It is radiant. And then engage in love. Romantic love or otherwise. Any other love. Then that makes a world of difference. Because then you do not see other as separate from yourself. There is a recognition of this shared being. This I principle then shines in each one of us, which is the eternal witness of what is happening. But when we are identified with the separative mind, when we are completely absorbed in our self-centeredness, we try to protect something. We have this core, inner core, an image, a conceptual thought, me, that wants to be protected, that is fragile. that says, I must get this, otherwise I will not be secure, I will not be happy, I will not be functional in life. So until I get a good job, until I make so much money, until I get the most beautiful and charming person in the world with me as my lover, I'm not going to be happy. We put these conditions on life. Sometimes we reach out to God, which is nothing but our own projection of a separate entity, a separate all-powerful entity in manifestation that keeps a tabs on its creation. I know no such God. For me, God is this animating consciousness which is arising here and now. It doesn't have quality, it doesn't have attributes. It is simply this. Any God that is attributed is not God. Therefore, in that context, when you have true understanding of God, there is not even God's will. Because if all there is one consciousness, pure consciousness, where is the will? So the concept of God's will also comes in the dream, in the waking dream, to explain what is happening. Because when people ask why things happen the way they happen, an easy answer is because it's God's will. That is the best we know. There is some cosmic law, but we can never make sense of what it is. So how does this act in our relationship, this knowledge? Well, when we recognize that everything is cosmic law, that everything is happening according to the universe's mind, the infinite mind, then we stop putting load on ourselves as to why things are happening the way they are, as to why others are behaving the way they are behaving. So when I have a discord, a disagreement with another, I do not condemn them, I do not blame them, I do not keep resentment or show malice. I just let them be, fully understanding that whatever is coming out of them is not something they are creating, but they are simply the instruments through which this cosmic law is functioning. The result is the love is never lost. The baseline love, the recognition of beingness, remains even when things are not in harmony. I may or may not have a relationship with the person, depending upon certain factors, certain preferences, which is fine, because humanly love is a transactional love. It is based upon appearances. It is based upon certain factors. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the true love, the deepest love, is the unconditional love of the beingness, in which this romantic small love, intimate love, is just a small expression of it. Now, there is certainty when it comes to unconditional love, because your own beingness never loses you. All else can be lost. Relationships can break. Friendships can fall apart. Your financial situation can change overnight. But what is that never changes? Your existence, your amness never changes. It is always there. It is the ground of all experiences. So when you abide in this beingness or amness, you are closer to yourself. You're the closest to yourself. It is the most intimate experience ever. Because it is not touched by thought. It is not corrupted by thought. In the experience of beingness, there is no thinking involved. It is only the thought which is limited, which is heavy, which corrupts. Because it introduces the dualistic opposite. The moment you say, I love the other person because they have this, they look like this, they talk like this, they're intelligent, they're this and that, you automatically, insecurities and doubts related to it also emerge in the subconscious. And they do find expression when there is a conflict. So, this dynamic, this relationship, whether it is a romantic relationship or friendship or association, business association, work association, this whole dynamic, surface level conflicts will always be there. But with the recognition of beingness, this surface level conflict gets resolved very fast, because when the ego is not involved, then both parties reconcile faster, because they let go of the patterns. They understand the patterns. They can see that it's the pattern playing out. It's the trauma playing out, this interaction. And in that moment of awareness, they drop it. And when they drop it, then they reunite. Does it happen with everyone? No. Sometimes one person is not conscious at all, and they are still strongly identified with their separation. In that case, a breakup of the relationship may happen. But it does not disrupt love and peace. It does not create a negative dialogue in the mind that the world is bad, people are horrible, I'm not loved. All of these are false voices. They are filtered and channeled through this fearful, separative mind. The mind that imposes its own limitations onto the object of its perception. Therefore, whatever it projects on, it limits that. But when this mind inverts on itself, it does not have the space to expand. So it contracts and subsequently merges into the wholeness, into the vastness, into the spaciousness from where it emerged. And that is the recognition of beingness, I amness. If you could just see how easy it is to be in that space. You have been told to fight, to fix yourself, to cure your brokenness. You have been given labels. And it is all based on creating the perfect individual. But does perfect individuality as a concept hold? Tell me one human being who you think is perfect on this plane. It is impossible to have one person have it all, be it all. It's not possible, because life is not designed in that way. The human organism is not designed in that way. So yes, jealousy, envy, hatred, malice, resentment, all of these things will emerge. But there is a difference with the recognition of beingness. These things do come up momentary. They do produce reactions, but they do not destroy love. They do not disrupt peace. It happens in the moment and then it is let go of. It doesn't flow in horizontal time. For example, an angry reaction may happen to a stimulus, to something someone else says about me. For example, if somebody calls me an idiot, there will be an anger in the moment. How dare he calls me an idiot? But at the same time, with the recognition of beingness, this next question will also arise. Who is this me that thinks he or she is the idiot? Is that true? And in that moment, the anger will drop, because the word idiot now does not have any association with this separative entity me, because this separative entity me is now collapsed. So there is no link between these two, the me and the word idiot. So what happens is, anger is felt in that moment and maybe also expressed in that moment. Maybe or maybe not, depending on the situation. But it does not carry on in horizontal time as a negative belief about oneself. I do not hold that in me, that I am an idiot, I am unworthy, I am unloved, I am good for nothing. No. I just see it as happening. It happened from the other end, and it was consumed at this end. And then it was released into the same wholeness from where it came. The notion of one person interacting with another person, that is the illusion. It is like two images interacting with each other, as J. Krishnamurti puts it beautifully. So he says, can we let go of this image? Can we see the other for the way they are, rather than the way they should or should not be? But that requires close examination of your ideas, of your beliefs, of your prejudices. Sometimes our beliefs are so strong. My world, my family, my religion, my theories, my ideologies. Oh my God, we are so tied up. Sometimes even non-duality, I see. People get tied up to it. Non-duality is just a concept like any other concept. I've heard some people saying, but you see, non-duality is the ultimate teaching. No. If non-duality becomes an object of your fascination, then the whole purpose of the message is lost. Because the purpose of the message is to free yourself, but you are now clinging on to that same object which you used initially to help yourself. It's like you're not ready to let go of the crutches even when your legs are fine. You're still holding on to the crutches. And now you identify yourself as Advaita Vedantin, Advaitin, non-dualist. These are all identifications. Non-duality is also not free from distortions like any other teaching in the world. It can also be misused by people to commit acts, unkind acts, and then say that I'm not the doer. People do that. But deep down, you know yourself very well. You can lie to the whole world. But can you lie to yourself? Can you live lying to yourself? You say you love them. You say, I love you. But ask yourself deep down, do you love me, or do you love an image of me that is only a figment in your imagination? To be able to love other means to be able to love oneself first, and not love oneself as an object. It is not like, I do this, therefore I love my doing this. No, that's not what I'm talking about. To love oneself is to be the love, is to be free from choices, is to be free from the mental movements that cause disharmony and separation, is to stay in your aliveness, in your beingness, and accept what this life is offering without trying to modify anything. To be able to feel one's feeling without resisting anything. To be able to accept this whole movement of one trying to become better and failing at it constantly, and then allowing it to dissolve and drop. You have tried this for many years, trying to become better, trying to become some new version. So a lot of theories are given to you. Self-love. What self are you loving? If you love a certain aspect of yourself, I can say that I like eating in expensive restaurants, therefore I love myself for that. But that restaurant and that food has got nothing to do with love. That is only a kick for the separative mind, where it says that my worth is high because I eat in high-end restaurants. A more a better understanding of love would be that I be open to both experiences. I should be able to enjoy in the high-end restaurants as well as street food. A local lady on the streets making street food, is it going to be hygienic? No. Is it going to be healthy? No. But still I can love it. Still I can appreciate the fact that I am being offered. And yet during other times I can enjoy luxury also sometimes. So I'm not averse to any of these experiences. But I do not cling to these experiences. I do not chase happiness externally. There is nothing on the outside that is going to give lasting happiness. The true source of joy is within. And this is a very fundamental teaching. Most of us know this. Yet we evade ourselves, we deceive ourselves, we delude ourselves, and we betray ourselves and look for the happiness on the outside. It does not mean one cannot have fulfilling relationships. It doesn't mean that one cannot do business or acquire money. None of those things have got anything to do with it. It simply means is that the completeness, the fulfillment that you're looking for is not to be found. It is here. It is your innate nature. It is readily here. So your worth does not depend on what you acquire or what you lose. It does not change. If you lose money, your worth does not change. If you acquire money, your worth does not change. You are of the highest worth, highest value, which is your beingness. That is what people really fall in love with. They do not fall in love with the appearances. That thing loses out very fast. They fall in love with the peace of your being. And I'm sure you've seen it yourself. that you like to be in the company of those who are internally peaceful, because it just brings your own mind to rest. Their peace reminds you of your peace that is within you. So you don't even have to do anything. You don't have to read the scriptures or even listen to gurus. You can just tap into that space right now. Disconnect from the mental separative stories. I have this problem, that problem. I'm not good with people. I'm aggressive, angry, I lash out, I do this, I do that. And just create endless guilt for yourself is not going to do you any good. I'm trying to quit addictions. It is okay to discipline yourself, but if you constantly judge your performance, if you constantly personalize your failures every time you have a setback, then you're trapping yourself in that loop of suffering. The addiction sustains because of your resistance. You're fighting. But when you stop fighting, you stop resisting, you will see that the addictions also drop. When you stop fighting to prove your worth to the others and recognize that your own being is of the highest worth and value, then your happiness does not depend on anything external. And then you are the most fearless person. And when you are a fearless person, then automatically you are loved. But till you're fighting, till you're trying to accumulate more and more in order to become something bigger than what you are right now, you are just adding artificial layers to an already existing illusory persona. You're just building up the illusion. So to conclude, be present here and now. Just remember to be, and you will find yourself at peace. Life will flow in its own way. Goals will present to you in their own way. You don't have to bother much about it. If a goal shows up, go for it. Give your life some meaning, some purpose, whatever you wanted, but it's all a man-made meaning, man-made purpose. It's not tied to your worth. Your worth does not require you to fulfill a purpose. You already are fulfilled. You already are whole. You already are complete. You already are enlightened.